How we doing today? So I'm Brandon Osentowski, water superintendent for York. Been in the position for 5 years, worked for the city for 22. I will have to admit, when they started the process, I was not in charge, so very beginning, I was not involved at all in it, so I don't have a lot of history on the very beginning of how it is, other than I know there was a lot of heartache at the office for all the confusion of the grants and how we did our budgeting and everything like that. We had a lot of problems trying to balance budgets because we had money coming in and a lot of money going out, even though it was through the grant system. It was still hard on the budget side. So office ladies weren't too happy with us at the time. And it's gotten better. We've made some serious adjustments to it to have its own expenditures and revenue reports, so we can try to track it a little bit better and deal with all that fun stuff. As they were talking earlier that we have basically 7 wells out in that well field. I will say some of the emergency wells have been decommissioned by Sergeant Well Drilling. So a lot of our emergency wells that were high in nitrates are all decommissioned and out of our system. And as of right now, all the well field wells, nitrates are below recording limits. So it looks really bad on the chart, but our water is not as bad as it seems. Some of the benefits I'd say for the city on this whole project is a couple years ago, we had such high winds in the spring. We had all the cover crop. There was no dirt blowing off of our fields I still own the property, or I should say the city owns the property, and Cornerstone Farm Management takes care of all that. Had no cover crop and the dirt was terrible. Drifting, filling in neighborhoods that are in that area and everything else. So that's a strong benefit, I would say, for the city and the community for that aspect. Also is the garden plot. It's a good opportunity for people that don't have yards to have the gardens. Be out there. We provide water for it, laid some piping so they have for sprinklers and everything else. Other than that, I said it was going to be short and sweet. Everyone needs to get to break. I know how it is to sit out there all the time. So if you have any questions.
So whose idea, was it the NRD's idea, or whose idea was it to start Project Grow? And apply for this grant?
I believe NRD came to Mitch Doe, was our director of public works at the time. And I believe he started the partnership with NRD. That sound right, Dan? Yeah. And then Mitch was there for about 1.5 years, then left, and we were all lost after that. So Dan's been great. NRD has been great. Dan calls me, tells me what he's doing. We're getting better communication between me and Dan. Dan's giving me numbers so I can help do better budgeting aspect, and my budget doesn't look all out of whack because I'm 200% over on my budget. But any other questions?
How do you feel your relationship with the other producers that neighbor to this Project Grow or your well field?
There's some heartburn. You know, we're trying to encourage people, the farmers, to do what they're doing to show that it can be done. Obviously, there's more expense whenever you're planting more cover crops that you don't harvest. You're just tilling under or whatever. So most of the farmers are decent, but we have a few that are, I'm sure they would want to land out from underneath the city, which if anyway it gets sold off, it's going to be for development for houses. So we'll own the property. Some of the property we have that's not done by NRD, there's no water there. So it'll never be, we can't even expand the well field that direction. But we're pulling from a water table right now. We're pulling from the bottom aquifer about 160 foot. My well's about 300 foot deep. So there's a lot of water out there.
On a finance perspective, are you seeing any pushback from the community because you guys are putting crops on city ground, being government, and you're getting money back? Because I know if we put this on our ground and we were making money off crops, we would have a lot of upset residents making money from the crops.
Yeah, so the water department doesn't use any general fund money, we're self-funded. So whatever I make off selling the water, it's all separate from general funds. That's probably the reason we don't get any pushback.
Because we have probably a couple hundred acres and we just let farm it. We own it and farm it because we don't want to deal with profits and stuff.
Understandable. Any other questions?
What are the long-term plans for this project?
Well, we just re-signed a new contract that started this year, I believe, then. So we'll have another 5 years with them. We'll see what the next 5 years goes. I wouldn't mind if NRD being acceptable to it, to expand the project, maybe more acres.
Are you considering to partner in having some research involved, getting involved in this project?
You know, I let Dan handle all that. We write the checks. That's basically what we do. I let Dan handle all that aspect on it. I don't know what his plans are. But at this time, we just kind of let Dan handle it. He sends me the bills and we pay him. Thank you very much.